friends, it's Michelle from Cozy Egg, and this is episode 119. Today is Wednesday, September 28th, 2022, and we're back. So, this is a channel primarily about cross-stitching, and today is going to be all about dark October stitching. So if you are here for the dark stitching, welcome. If you are here for talk about Halloween, welcome. You're in the right place because we do Halloween 365 here. So it's never too early to talk about Halloween, but somehow we're only like 2 days away from October. I am not sure how this happened. And full disclosure, I have just worked a 13-hour day. My past several weeks have been like that. So I'm winging it tonight. I totally, honestly, would like to do nothing but lay on the couch and eat cookies and watch Gilmore Girls, but we got to get stuff done. So here we are. It is, 9:30 at night, and I'm just starting to record. So, and I didn't wear my night creature. I wore my planchette moth instead, but I do have on my 13, and I have on my new hourglass piece. Time is a Phoenix. My favorite part is the back of it with the stars and the little alcove where you can put perfume oils, which I have done with my Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab perfumes, and it's a lovely way to wear perfume not on your skin. So, anyway, yes, this has stars on it. It has a little crescent moon. It is very night circus to me, but it is an hourglass. It's sort of a abstract hourglass, but I digress. If you came here to talk about blood milk jewels, you're in the right place. So, yeah, so anyway, like I said, I'm winging it tonight. I don't have notes. I grabbed some stuff. That's where we're at. So, before I dive in to this pile of whatnot that I have here, I just wanted to say that I was absolutely thrilled and a little surprised that so many of you commented to tell me about your thoughts as far as being intentional and wanting to sort of focus on slowing down and not the craziness of, all the stuff and the things and the what have you. So, and some people left comments on YouTube. Some people left comments on my Instagram post. Some people messaged me separately. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for all of you that reached out. And especially to those of you that reached out with suggestions of videos to watch, channels to watch. So at some point, I will be putting the show notes up for this video as well as the last video. And when I do that, my intention is to put a list of all of the recommendations that I got so that you can go and check those out too. I've started watching some of them and have found some great things. So I want to thank you all for your suggestions, and please keep them coming as you think of more things. If you come across other channels that have that kind of intentional, cozy, lovely sort of vibe, especially vlogs, please absolutely send those my way because I'm all about it. And I was just, like I said, I was also a little surprised at how many of you resonated with that, because I oftentimes feel like I'm sort of out here on this island by myself and I'm the only person that feels this way. So it was really nice, to get feedback from other people that they were also sort of feeling that pull to be intentional and, to kind of slow down and savor things and, all that good stuff. So this is the vibe. This is the vibe that we're going with. And I'm all for it. And even though it is still 100 degrees here in Texas, I am feeling the fall vibes. I'm ready for it. And I'm really just, so super excited for my favorite month of the year, super excited for my favorite season of the year. And I don't want to let a day of it go by without fully embracing it and appreciating it. So, good deal. Okay, so I'm going to show you first what I've been working on, and then we're going to talk dark October stitching because that's why we're here, right? So, what have I been working on since I last saw you? I am going to go kind of from the top of the pile because everything's all mixed in together. So, for the full moon, I worked on Moonsick by Primitive Needle, which is this. And I really love this piece. I enjoy stitching on it. It's just a pleasure. I am stitching this on Duxbury, 40 count Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit. And the chart calls for silken colors, silks. So I did my own conversion and pulled some stuff. Several of the silks that I chose, I actually used, I pulled the Pure Palette silks that I used for Blacked Sky. It just sort of felt appropriate and they were the appropriate colors. So I did reuse some of those, which was nice. So basically when I picked this up, I worked on this section here, which is the bottom section. And I got all of the words done. I need to stitch the little lady. And then there's, a moon and some stars, I think. And then that bottom border will match this with the moon phases. So I think a couple more sessions of working on this and I can finish it. And I'm just so pleased with it. I love how it looks. I love how it looks on this linen. And it's a fun little stitch. So, Moonsick. And it does, so what it says is, wife, I ween thou art drunk or lunatic, which means, wife, I wonder if you're drunk or lunatic. And then at the bottom it says, nay, husband, women are never moonsick. So that is what I worked on for the full moon. And then on the 13th, for dark 13 stitching, I decided to get out my primitive hair freebie for the Sabbats that I'm doing. Those are freebies that are on her blog. I will link to it in the show notes. And I basically just have, you know, had the two left to do, Mabon and Samhain. So I decided I better get Mabon done before the fall equinox and Mabon. So I pulled this out on the 13th and stitched it up. I did change this from, it was originally charted with grapes, and I have recharted it with an apple. I saw someone, Shell McPhee, I think, redid hers with an apple, and I absolutely loved it. So I charted an apple as well. Basically, the vine and the leaves and the acorns are all exactly as they were originally charted, and the only difference is the big apple instead of a cluster of grapes. So, and I did use overdyes for this instead of the DMC that was called for. I stitched it on 40 count doubloon by Picture This Plus, which I had left over. And so it turned out, you know, it's quite wee. And I just love it. As you can see, I have started my finishing of it. I have sewn it up, and I really love this finishing fabric so much. But I've sewn it up. I have a little hole here at the bottom so that I can fill this with crushed walnut shells and then sew it up. Obviously the 21st came and went, but here we are. So just like my Lemos one, I got most of the way there. So I will get this done, sewn up, and on my altar at some point. So, but I was very happy to get this started and finished, charted that apple, picked my colors, the whole thing, and got it done. So quite pleased with that. And then the other thing that I have been working on is at the bottom of the pile. And let me, I have my chart stuck on this, so let me just move that. So the other thing that I have been working on, excuse me, is the Bristol sampler that I was working on for Sampler September. No margaritas this time, just iced tea, because it's been that kind of a day. So, Bristol sampler. So this is a Bristol sampler that I am in the process of reproducing, and I am stitching the model, and this is where I'm at. So I've basically, so this is basically page 1, and I've moved on to page 2, which actually ends right about here. And I did just a little bit onto page 3. So this is what I've been working on pretty much exclusively all of Sampler September. I am stitching this on 56 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit. and I'm using a soie surfine to stitch on that high count, and I'm quite pleased with the coverage of it. And I have another piece that I've started on 5260 count. This is so much easier to stitch on than that is. Honestly, I was a little concerned because this is a big sampler, and I was like, if I get into it with this 56 count and it's a no-go, I'm gonna have a problem. But it's been fine. So this is where I'm at. I admit that this is not exciting, but it is moving along. So quite happy with it so far. And I'm just going to, continue on with that and through the end of the month and see, kind of where I can get to. And then, of course, that brings us to this. So that's basically all that I have worked on for September is those 3 pieces. And then that brings us to Dark October stitching. So if you are new here, you heard me mention Dark 13 stitching. So on the 13th of every month, Emily C., Eclectic Possessions, and I host a stitch along called Dark 13 Stitching. You can use that hashtag, and it's basically an opportunity every single month on the 13th to pull out your dark and macabre pieces, gothic, what have you, pieces, and work on them. Now, if you're like me, you will take any excuse to work on your dark pieces. Honestly, I work on dark stuff all the time, so, I tend to sort of split my time between samplers and dark stuff. Samplers and dark stuff. That's just me. So that's what we do on the 13th of the month. But then for October, we do Dark October stitching. And that's basically just celebrating the entire month of spookiness with Halloween stitching of your choice, or just generally dark and macabre stitching. I tend towards the gothic, so yeah. So get your dark stitching on, use the hashtag, and if you are planning on doing Dark October stitching and you do a plans video or anything like that, please absolutely tag me and let me know, because I would love to come watch it, because Dark October videos are my favorite ever. And in case you need some inspiration, I have a playlist on my channel that is just Dark October videos. So you can look back at my Dark October for the past, is it 5 years that we've been doing this or something? So you can go look back at that and enjoy. So I started thinking about what I wanted to work on for October, and I pulled some things, probably more than I will actually work on this month, but I just pulled the things that were calling to me, that I felt like I wanted to work on. So I thought I would just take you through those. Now the first one, since we were just talking about the Primitive Hair Sabbath freebies, I mentioned the last one that I have to do is Samhain. So I have it printed out and ready to go. Well, ready to go is relative. So I don't love this. I love the key. I love all the other stuff. But I think I'm going to replace this. And I think I've decided what I want to replace it with. I just need to chart it. So at some point this month, this will get started and stitched. And I just need to figure out when I'm going to stitch in that spot, chart it out, kit it up. So that's the plan. And speaking of keys, Blood Milk, who you all know that I adore, just released new pieces, and they're 3 keys. And one is called The Key to the Other Side, which is sort of Art Nouveau looking, and it has stars and a moon, a crescent moon on it, kind of like the hourglass does. There is one that is called The Key to the Seance Room, which has a planchette on it, which is fantastic. And then there is one that is called The Key of Endless Night, which has stars on it as well. So, such good things. Good things. Adding to my wish list on the daily. So, anyway, back to stitching. My cat is over there thinking about chewing on the electrical cord. So I'm sort of watching him out of the corner of my eye because I really would like him to not do that. So what did I pull for potential dark October stitching? The first thing I pulled, of course, was Primitive Needle Tombstone Spots. So Emily and I started this together for Friday the 13th. So there is only one Friday the 13th in 2022, and it was back in May. And so we started this piece together. It had been on my to-stitch list forever, but I wanted to get Blacked Sky done before I started this one, because to me they're sort of companion pieces. And my intention is to hang the two of them together. And then I have a third piece that I'm in the process of designing that I would like to also hang with these two. So, Tombstone Spots. So I am stitching this on 40 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim, and I'm stitching it with the called for Weeks Dye Works threads. And here is my progress so far. And what I loved about this piece of fabric is that it had that sort of brownish gray stone sort of color, but then it's got these kind of mossy green patches, and it just looked like the perfect thing to stitch tombstone spots on. So that's where I'm at. I love it, and I'm anxious to get back to it. And the colors, the threads for this, I have here someplace, are here. So you can see that beautiful curry color, and then there's lots of these sort of mossy greens, this kind of bright pistachio color that I love, and then there's some grays in here, and then this kind of purpley brown color. Just really lovely. So I'm very excited to get that out again and stitch on it. Very excited. Another piece that that I have not worked on since I think last October, I decided to get out, and this is Black Cat Hollow by Barbara Anna. And I started this again as a stitch along with Emily and a few other folks a million years ago. She has long since finished hers, and I am still on part 1. So at the time that we started this, this was a mystery, and it came out in 3 parts. But it's quite cute. It's very Barbara Anna-esque, very typical of her designs. So, like I said, I'm working on part 1 still. I am stitching this on, for some unknown reason, 32 count Murky by Picture This Plus, which is like stitching on burlap. This fabric is the worst. I love the color. The color is spot on. The fabric itself is horrible. It's like canvas. It is awful. I mean, it's awful. I don't know what I was thinking. But here is, let me just fold that. Here's where I'm at. So I'm about halfway across. I basically have that half done, and it's quite cute. So I definitely want to work on this some more, get a little further on it, and but yeah, I pretty much don't pick this up because this fabric is terrible. I do not know what I was thinking. You know, I kept thinking to myself, I should order 40 count, I should order 40 count, I should order 40 count. And then someone talked me into 32 count, not Emily. It's cute though, and the fabric's great, but yeah. So I think I'm going to work on that, and it's all DMC. So I have this mess to deal with. I hate these because of this business. But basically what you're hearing is I'm not loving anything about this except the color of the fabric and the design. So let's see if we can't turn that around, shall we? So I have that. And then I have my Cecropia moth that I really would like to work on some more. I've been forcing myself to not go back to this because I need to work on my model, but this is a freebie from Whistle Stop Stitcher. It's a Cecropia moth, and this is where I'm at. So I started this. I wasn't sure about the fabric, thread, color combo, and I set it aside, and then just recently last month picked it up and started working on it again. So I may still change this gray here, but otherwise I'm quite pleased with it. And I really want it for my moth wall. So yeah. I don't obviously have La Luna up on the wall because she is on a box top, but I have my Luna moth, and I want to have this Cecropia moth, and there may possibly be another moth that I'm in the process of designing. Maybe. So, Cecropia, I definitely want to work on. And then the last thing that I pulled out, which is in this beautiful bag, is the piece that I started last year when we held our Dark October seance, which was basically our Zoom stitch-in that Emily and I hosted for Halloween, which was a lot of fun. And you all will probably, hopefully, be excited to know that we're gonna do it again. So, more details to come, but we are planning on doing it again this year at the end of the month. So I started this that night, and I don't think I've worked on it since then. So I think it needs to come out and get worked on. So this is another primitive hair piece. Are you sensing a theme? This is another primitive hair piece called The Raven. When she released this, I just absolutely fell in love with it and immediately ordered it right after market with the fabric that she calls for, which is the Anne Boleyn fabric in 30 count. And the fabric is gorgeous. My stitching is not super impressive. There is a lot of confetti in that bird, but that's what I got done. And I'd really like to work on this more because I think it's really going to be a cool piece. I love it on this fabric, and yeah, it just calls for DMC and then 2 Gentle Arts, Pecan Pie and Garden Gate. Everything else is DMC. So, and although this looks black, this is actually navy blue. So, lots of confetti stitching. But this is the fabric. It's called the Boleyn linen, and I believe it's 30 count. So she has some really gorgeous fabric, printed fabric that is just fantastic. So I'd really like to work on this again, which is why I decided to pull it back out. But trying to work on something like that while you're chatting, maybe not the best idea. So, yeah, so that is the last thing that I pulled. Like I said, that's probably more than I'm gonna actually get to during Dark October, but I figured, you know, I usually try to stitch on one thing a week, and I'll want something for a dark 13 during dark October especially, and I will probably also, I tend to stitch on something special just for like Halloween weekend, so I'll probably choose one of those pieces specifically for that. And then I also wanted to show you my sweet friend Annette. We were on a Zoom together and she was showing, she was like kitting up some things and, you know, putting them in bags. And I was like, what is that bag you have there? And she showed it to me and I was like, I love that. That's fantastic. And she was like, oh, good, because I bought 2 and one's for you. So she sent mine to me and I just love it. It's a so much to love bag, and I love the owls and the bats and the ravens and the shoes, and I just love it. Love it. So fun. And then the inside is skulls. So I think I'm going to take my Cecropia moth out of the winter bag and put it in this bag. And then I have one other thing that I have on my radar to start, but I have to finish charting it first. So we'll see if that happens. But I'm very excited about Dark October stitching, of course, because that's a whole vibe. And I'm very excited about doing our Dark October seance again. I love October. I really do. And it just makes my little goth heart go pitter patter. So, books. So last year, because I was on top of things, I had like a whole planned, you know, Dark October reading set of things that I was going to read, and I read several of them. And I also had a whole set of movies that Eric and I were going to watch on Halloween. This year, I'm, like I said, I'm just sort of winging it. I'm just trying to kind of go as I feel things kind of pulling me. And so what I am currently reading, I finished with my Black Dagger Brotherhood books. Be honest with you, I'm glad, because I was kind of done. But what I am currently reading is a book that was recommended by S. Elizabeth, who is Ghoul Next Door. And she does a fantastic podcast called Midnight Stinks that is all about like indie perfumes like Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab and Hexanut and all sorts of things. So when she said that she had finished this and it was really good, it was a perfect sort of dark academia gothic read, I was like, I'm in. Thank you for those buzzwords, because I'm all over it. And so the book that she recommended is Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. And so I have started reading this. I amazingly found it through my library app, and it was available, so I quick checked it out before anybody else did. And I'm really enjoying it. So far, highly recommend if that's, you know, something that you're interested in, as sort of a, you know, gothic, dark academia kind of novel. So I've got that. I do, one of my books that I wanted to read last year was The Historian. I wanted to reread that, and I didn't get to it. So that is on my list to reread this year. And we'll see what else comes up. But I'm just kind of rolling with it at the moment because things have been a little crazy and work has been crazy, and we have had a whole lot of stuff going on personally, and so it's been a little bit stressful, and just trying to stay above water. So, but I'm very excited for Dark October, and I'm very excited to continue watching some of the videos you all recommended. I'm excited to read some Gothic books and stitch on some spooky things, and maybe eventually the weather will cool off and it will feel like fall. I'm looking forward to it. So I think that's all that I have for today. Let me know what you're working on for Dark October. I'm excited to hear about that. And like I said, take a peek at my Dark October playlist if you're interested, and a look back at what I worked on in the past few years. Some of those are vlogs. I tend to try to do that in October. I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. We'll see how it goes. But very excited about that. So it has been a long day, so I'm going to put all this stuff away and sit on the couch and maybe stitch, maybe read, who knows. But thank you so much for checking in. Thank you for your likes and comments and subscribes and all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. And I hope that wherever you are enjoying the start of spooky season yourself. So happy October.